What do we even know about Sicily? A location of second season of White Lotus where Jennifer Coolidge as Tanya screams, "These gays, they're trying to murder me." But do we know how hard Sicilian life was during 20th century, when people lived literally between the devil and the deep blue sea, when citizens kept omerta even if your son was killed, and how an organization that was created for protection, because even the term mafia comes from boldness and fearless, turned into a synonym for crime. Blood vengeance of mafia and even more cruel methods of authorities made people leave their homeland and trade life in the Mediterranean heaven for gloomy and concrete New York. Mario Puzo was not born in Italy. His parents were immigrants, though not from Sicily, but from another Italian region. And maybe even without intention or any, as he claimed, real mafia involvement, Mario Puzo created a real masterpiece that shows how people exiled from their land think, operate, and how this hot blood works out. Mafia movies were extremely popular in the 20th century, before the superheroes era, and maybe in one of the multiverses, Mike Corleone defeats Thanos. And I get it, gangsters are shown first of all really fashionable in their hats, pinstripe suits and shiny shoes. Of course, as we're talking about Italians, carrying gentleman fashion between old Europe and modern days. Mafia is always with money and shows generosity, it always pays their blood debts. They know what is real.
Family.
Family.
Family. Family. What's real is family.
And no one, really no one tells a man from the mafia what to do. Mario Puzo describes all of that as well, in some way romanticizing it and pretty much saying that the real Don is neither a criminal nor a hero, neither a citizen nor an outsider. The real Don is just the freest person on the earth. I wasn't rushing to watch the Godfather movie as it's a pretty old movie, and with all the references in pop culture, you might have a feeling that you saw it already.
I got an offer that you can't refuse. Scooch over.
Maybe we'll review movies more closely later, but the one problem I had is that the movie is 3 hours long, and for me it is too long for one session. That's not because it's boring or a slow-paced drama. John Wick 4 has tons of action and by the end you need some break, just because I think it's hard to sit for 3 hours in one session. The book doesn't have this problem, as no one sane will read The Godfather in one session. And that is a strong point, as I was looking forward to the evening when I would dive into the world of Mafia. I took my time, reading somewhere half an hour a day, and it took me about a month to finish it entirely. If we are comparing the book to the movie, they did a great job. The movie accurately follows the book, unlike modern book adaptations, and shows the essence. But after watching the movie I had some unanswered questions, which were cleared after reading the book. First of all, Mike and his thoughts and the family attitude towards him. As well, Don Corleone's background described much more broadly. I finally could understand how he became the leader, how he was able to get this status. Kay Adams in the book is a full character with thoughts and actions, and Lucy Mancini exists, with her own arc and deep problem rather than just a decoration. From the book you get much more Johnny Fontaine and his life in Hollywood and babysitting of Nino Valenti, and of course, life in Sicily. Book does it all better, even if it seems that the movie is the GOAT. Important moment that can either repel or attract to the book is its explicit sex scenes. The author doesn't mind to describe in detail some parts connected to this topic. It starts with the explicit description of Sonny's penis during his sex at the wedding of his sister, and ends up with Lucy Mancini's sex life in Vegas, where she was pretty precisely examined by her doctor/lover. We saw some nudity in the movie, but it's nothing in comparison with modern movies and TV shows, when I am afraid to watch Euphoria or White Lotus while in the office. We can separate it into 3 arcs: when Don Corleone is okay and everything before that, when he's still a leader, the war arc, and the Mike's ascension. first part is probably the most memorable because it starts with Connie's wedding, where all the characters are introduced and the overall exposition explained. Amerigo Bonasera introduces us to Don Corleone, a mafia boss who left Sicily to save his life as his father's killers were after him. Mike, his youngest son, is introduced as a member of the family, but who keeps the distance.
That's my family, Kay. It's not me.
In this part, everything is around Don. He is in charge, everything great and stable. I enjoyed that he is shown as a man of honor. He does all these favors, he is intelligent and sharp. He acts as he wills, sometimes crossing the law, only because the words written times ago do not work best for him and no one could order him to do something. He has even a superpower in a way, he can persuade anyone. Though as any leader or politician, you can be philanthropic and all these favors he asks back. Sometimes he even creates a necessity to be asked a favor to get it back, as we later discover. In spite of that, it's just an aftermath of being Don. The roots are good intentions and respect. After an assassination attempt, Don is in the hospital and all hells break loose. The war erupts, peacetime consigliere doesn't manage to handle it. The eldest son Sonny tries to replace his father, but his fiery character doesn't do him any good. Rushed decisions bring Mike into the action and get him into hiding in Sicily. The family power shrinks. The family has great people and territory losses. The period of uncertainty and ruin. This is a time when I asked myself, can this empire built on one person survive? This is a big philosophical question whether an empire established on one person can last long without this person. While people who created it are in power, it lives, but will it vanish when they are gone? This was a pure enjoyment to read. It ends with Don accepting the terms of other families and bringing Mike home. Here we see Don again, as I waited for it in the previous arc, but he is not the same. He is a reflection of his old self. He knows it and tries to hand over all his power to Mike, who shows willing and now has a blood debt to pay, as he lost a wife while he was in Sicily. This arc is about Mike and his actions. He wipes everyone out who is not with him, everyone who doubts. Eventually he gets his revenge, he becomes the leader of the family and builds new plans where to move. But all of this shows Don Corleone intelligence and cold-blooded genius, as he planned it all from the very beginning. The subplot of Johnny Fontaine's life in Hollywood really makes you wonder if this life of a dream is worth it, and is it so good in reality? When his sex life with many partners and success are kinda appealing and makes you envious, but the reality is that all these girls are mostly after his fame and money, or that's their way to touch the legend. So when he ended up with someone there was no admiration, it made them both miserable, and the only thing he ever loved amongst all this sex life was singing. There is nothing else to say besides that this book is cool. It's an all-time classic, I have nothing really to add to this. It's definitely 12 out of 12. Read the book if you haven't before, and it's good.